Hi there. Welcome to Hey Sound Guy, the podcast where I will be peeking behind the curtain of the wonderful world of music. Each week, I'll be speaking to sound engineers of different disciplines, whether it be live, studio, systems taking, or all of the above. From time to time, I'll also be bringing in some industry professionals and musicians, and we can have a chat with them, so stay tuned. Now, my next guest is a young engineer and a good friend of mine. He is currently hire coordinator at SSE Audio Group. He previously worked as head of sound for Wise Productions, and he's also done some live work. Please welcome my good friend, Max Powers.
Hello, everyone.
Hi. Thank you for coming. Thank
No
you
worries.
for making the trip. I know you were working today, and this is why we're doing it in the evening. Normally, I try and do it during the day, so because I can't pay anybody, so I don't want people to lose work to come and have a chat. But first of all, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing and what you've done?
Yeah, no worries. Cool. So I'm from Essex originally. Grew up there. Then sort of around about 14, 15, I moved to Ireland with my mum and my stepdad. Kind of did A levels there. Then came back to the UK, back to London, and I was actually going to study sort of humanities. History, anthropology, that sort of thing, and went to university for all of about 3 months, and then quit. And then that's when I started working in bars in the city, and that's where I think I met you at Ronnie Scott's.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yep. And then from there, I started doing crewing because I think you introduced me to sort of
Pinnacle Solutions, right?
Pinnacle Solutions, and it was like a good way to sort of get in to know the industry, to sort of get a good handle on sort of what it takes to be a sort of a crew person of whatever discipline you choose to do. So I started doing that. Did that for a couple of years, worked at the Olympics, worked for loads of different companies, including Wise Productions, who I would later become a full-time member of staff and head of sound. But yeah, so did that. Then I studied, I quit Pinnacle Crew, and then I did a live sound diploma at Alchemia College, which is now closed down, I believe.
Oh.
So yeah, did that, and then I went freelance and worked for various venues, XOYO, worked at the Village Underground, did a lot of corporate freelancing for Wise Productions and other sort of companies like that, Dobson Sound, other people like that, and then then I just started to work for Wise quite a bit more. They offered me a full-time job. I sort of worked my way up with those guys, became head of sound. And then eventually I sort of came to the realisation that I wanted to do more audio because at Wise it's just sort of a corporate event production. So So I decided to sort of branch out and sort of do something, more audio because that's what I wanted to get into. So I applied for a position at SSE Audio, and that's where I am now. But essentially, sort of a project manager for sort of events, hires, and that sort of stuff. Yeah,
You've been there quite a while.
I've been there for sort of 2.5, 3 to 3 years now.
Fantastic. That's great, man.
Yeah.
So let's start with. You said that when you were doing the crewing stuff, that you decided then that you wanted to get into the sound more than anything else. Was that the plan from the beginning, or were you kind of just, I need work and I want to work in the industry?
Yeah. So I think from a teenager, sort of as a lot of sound engineers are, they sort of fail.
Because you're a guitarist as well.
Yeah,
so,
I was a guitarist. Not amazing, could play a couple of tunes, sort of thing. But yeah, because I always had a massive passion for music. So yeah, going into the crewing side, it was always a goal to sort of become a sound engineer after that. But it just gives you a good, you can earn some money,
100%, and learn the industry, get to know people. I started the same way. I did crewing for. I worked for Pinnacle for 2 years, I think 2.5 years, and through that I made some contacts with Dream Events. Did you ever work with Dream
I
Events?
don't think I ever worked for Dream Events, no.
Right,
And they were a crewing company, were they?
No,
Local
they're
crew.
they're an events company. They did mainly, they do. I think they're still around. They do mainly Jewish events,
Okay.
bar mitzvahs and weddings and these sorts of things. And I worked for them. Well, not full time, but pretty much.
Yeah.
When I was doing my degree, it was good. I had the flexibility, which was great because I could work for them Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday through Thursday I would go to college and
Exactly,
study.
yeah.
And I mean, it's a good way to get into it. I think it, in a way, it keeps you humble, because
Yeah, totally.
you get a fuller, maybe a more broad view of what it is, what the industry is. Obviously there are different sectors in which you can go into and specialize, but you see how it works, and you don't just walk in off the street or out of a college degree and like, oh, I'm going to be a soundie now. So I think that's a good thing. So sorry,
And,
you were saying.
Yeah, and those companies like Dream Events and Wise Productions, because they do, they are a production company. They'll do everything from lighting, sound, set, staging, AV.
All of it, yeah.
Most of the time, when you're working with these people, you kind of don't just do your one discipline. You'll pitch in and do this and do a bit of rigging,
100%, yeah,
and
yeah.
it gives you a good rounded knowledge of sort of what's going on and stuff like that. So, yeah, also very flexible. You can sort of you work in the evenings, work at the weekends and stuff, and work in and around, and it's good.
It's long hours though. It's hard work.
Exactly,
But
yeah.
I personally think it's important to do these things. I was speaking last week with Tim. Tim,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
About just getting in and doing the shit gigs and doing the hard graft. I think that kind of it forms you as as an engineer, because you're not just going to white glove it.
Yeah, exactly.
And what I mean by white gloving is it's a term where back in the day engineers would come in and they were called they had a set of white gloves that they would put on, and the gloves weren't allowed to get dirty because they were just there to push the faders. So I was told. I don't even know if that's 100% true, but that's what I was told. Anyway, but nowadays it's not like that at all. I think people need to get stuck in. They got to get their hands dirty a little bit.
Exactly, yeah.
Do the shitty gigs. Do the crewing. Do these sorts of things. I think it's.
It gives you a good attitude to sort of move forward
Right,
with
yeah.
through, and people,
Almost like an honourable way to do it.
exactly, yeah. You're working your way up through the ranks, and you kind of and you do the shigs. And you also have like empathy and kind of like the people that are in that situation when you're on your gig, and it gives you a
100%.
good attitude, and you can deal with people, and exactly.
Man, I tell you, we had once. This is probably the. Sound engineers do have a bit of a bad name because we're normally what's been voted the grumpiest profession. Have you seen that article? It was a while ago.
Yeah.
I don't agree with it, but anyway, there was this. We were loading in. I was still working for Pinnacle, and this sound engineer guy, he wanted his boxes moved, and he's like, "Oi, humper scum, come over here." Just like, hold on a second. It's not really the way that you talk to people. I know I'm just here to push boxes around, but simmer down a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not cool. You don't
He's
fucking
obviously
talk to
not
people like that.
done crewing.
No. Yeah.
Exactly.
No, and you can see them.
You can see the people that haven't. They've come straight out of
Yeah.
university, and they've mixed in studios and or whatever, and they've maybe they've caught a break through a band that they know or whatever, and
Right.
they've gone straight into the kind of like mixing shows, and they don't know how a PA is put together, or they don't know how, what I mean. They just know how to sort of do
Push
stuff on the
faders.
board. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
100%.
When I'm on a gig, if I am mixing a show or doing whatever, you have the utmost respect for the people that are pushing the boxes and are at the kind of the bottom of the food chain,
because you
you've
know
been,
what it's
because
like.
you've been there. Exactly. Yeah.
100%, man. And I mean, you also more willing to jump in there and help.
Exactly. Yeah. people respect that of you as well, don't they? If
Yes.
if you're willing to do that, people will,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. No, people they like musicians. They take that on board straight away, and they realize this guy isn't just the regular club engineer who's just a bit miserable and doesn't want to be there. And I mean, unfortunately, it does happen. You know, it. I was doing yesterday and the day before we were doing. I was at Ronnie's doing John Sermon, Invisible Threads Trio. He's a saxophone player, Barry sax player, fantastic, and they had their own engineer. And chatting with a guy, and he's like, it's great what you guys, what you do here, and I really do appreciate it, because so many times you walk into a venue and there's an engineer there that's just been there for 50 years and he's just miserable. He didn't catch his break, he didn't go on tour, and he's just worked this job, and he doesn't want to do it. And you get that. I find that at sort of theaters, I found quite a lot. When we did the Niger stuff, and we travel around, you get to these little backwater towns, and there's a theater, and the engineers they just really don't want to be there, and they're just miserable.
On the other side of the coin, sometimes you get you go into venues and you get kind of like casuals, freelancers running the venue, which is also, but like, running the venue, there's no full-time staff there, and you get there and the place is an absolute shithole.
That is the danger
shit
as
everywhere.
well.
You go to the control area and it's just like, full of crap, birds' nests everywhere, and that's also pretty. Bad.
I mean, definitely you should have at least one guy.
Exactly.
Who's the boss.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But more and more venues don't like paying for like full-time members of staff to do this stuff.
I think it's a false economy, really.
Oh, totally.
It's I'll just refer back to to Ronnie Scott's, because there was a full-time engineer there for a long time. I worked under him when I did my year there. He left, and then Charlie Dale, Charlie as well, right? Charlie took the full-time position right after me, and then when he quit, it was around the same time that Danny left, and then Miles stepped in, and he's a coordinator as much as anything else there, and he argued the fact to the management there that it would be better to have a rota of freelance engineers, because we do get the chance, if we're freelancers, we are going to be the guys that's going to go on tour with this band or that band, so we have the real world experience, if you will, to bring into the venue, and we'll also be the quality of engineers are going to be higher, because those are the guys that go around with these bands. I mean, like, for instance, again, Tim, with whom I was talking, he tours around with Kurt Elling, he tours around with Monty Alexander and things, and these are top acts, and they're going to need top engineers, and if you do these things, like Shahan as well, he does Courtney Pine and things like that. So we've all got our little bands that we go around with, and we tour, and then we come back and we do the Ronnie's thing, or Boysdale as well, where we work. So I think that is a valid argument to that, but on the other hand, for venues, it might be more cost effective to have permanent staff, because obviously they're going to pay them less, because it's a full-time gig. So I suppose there's
pros and cons.
Something to say for both of them.
I suppose really it's just about employing the right people, whether they are like sort of freelance or sort of. A lot of the time, the sort of in-house, because you're paying them cheaper, they're kind of like, they don't have the experience, or they don't have the drive to do anything, and they potentially could be sort of not putting in the effort and not maintaining the kit well. But then but then you can have if you employ the right people and you've got really good people on your rotor, some really good engineers, then the place is going to be run well, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? But
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
But I think at Ronnie's you've got sort of proper, really good sort of rotor of like good engineers.
No, we've got a solid team there, that's for sure. And guys who I look up to, great engineers, and I've learned a lot from them as well. So it's a good place, and we're very fortunate to to have that as a thing. So let's get back to so you did the crewing, you did Pinnacle, and you then decided that, or you already had the eye on doing sound when you started working for Pinnacle.
Yeah, exactly.
When did the sound bug bite, and how did it happen? Like what made you think, was it going to be, it's going to be guitar or sound, or was there always like I like this sound thing?
Yeah, I think like I said, it was kind of a little bit like I was always a massive music fan, loved playing music, liked the idea of curating music and stuff like that. And then I think when it got to the point where after multiple kind of like attempts to try and be a musician, I was kind of like, do you know what? Maybe it's pretty tough. Like, I don't know if I'm cut out to do this. So I kind of thought, do you know what? I really want to be in the industry. I want to be around it. I want to be around the music. I want to be part of it. I like buying kit. I like buying guitars and amps and this sort of thing. So I just thought, do you know what? I think maybe going into the audio side of it could be, a good way to sort of make money, have a career and still be part of what I love, basically. So that's where, that's how that sort of went down that road. And then I decided to do, I was at Pinnacle and I decided to do the Alchemia sort of live sound engineer course, which is pretty good, very intensive.
Tell me about that. Where was this? Is it here in London?
It's here in London. Well, it's I think it's not around anymore actually, but it was run by Darren De La Salle from Soul Sound.
You mentioned her to me, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I'd like to talk about that a little bit later again, but let's talk about.
She basically run the live sound course with Justin Greeley and Marcel Van Limbeck. And basically, it was a very intensive, short course, only like 4 months long, but it was like 7 days a week. And you'd go, and they sort of took us through because I was super green. I just knew how to, treble bass on my guitar, and that was pretty much all I knew about EQ. And gain to me just meant more distortion. Do you know what I mean? So I was super green. Went in there and they teach you from the from the bottom. It's sort of acoustics, the theory of acoustics, and then sort of electronics and sort of a real base knowledge of everything, mains, power, all this kind of stuff. And it was quite good because they were affiliated with some venues like the Village Underground, XOYO,
right, and
some other places like this, the Coronet in Brixton. We got a good hand-on experience. We went and sort of stage tech sort of shows in these venues and stuff, and it was great. I learned a lot, and I came sort of straight out of there and went freelance. I think I did a little bit of crewing just to bridge a gap. I remember
you worked at the Village Underground for a bit as well. Was that as a freelancer?
That was a freelancer. That was sort of just, I basically just went and did patch for like sort of for sort of acts that were coming through the venue. Basically, go in there, maybe build a stage, patch a band, put the monitors out, run a bit of cable, mic up the instruments, this sort of thing, do changeovers with bands and that sort of stuff. But it was really cool. They got some great acts that go through there. I remember Femi Kuti played in there. At the time, I didn't know who he was. He's a sort of Nigerian musician, but looking at retrospectively now, I'm actually a massive fan of his father, Fela Kuti. I don't know if you know Fela.
Seun Kuti, his other son, he played at Ronnie's a while ago. I remember. That was quite a big show.
Yeah, it's super cool. It's sort of like African jazz type sort of high life sort of stuff. I think Seun Kuti is actually playing at Village Underground coming up now? Shortly. So there's some great acts that we got to sort of get our hands on there. I think Albert Hammond Jr. from the Strokes, guitarist from the Strokes, got through there, and it didn't pay very well. To be honest, the pay was pretty bad. It was like, 50 quid a shift or something. But, like you said, you've got to do these shit gigs to get your experience and work with these people. And
Absolutely.
But yeah, that was great. That was good. Good bit of experience there. And sort of that was doing the course, it kind of introduced me into like the world of sort of music and the sort of rock and roll side of audio engineering, as opposed to what I'd done before with Pinnacle was just working for corporate event production.
The majority of it is, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So,
yeah, and I mean, obviously being an events company, there's no specialization at all. I mean, they were a good company when I worked for them. They put me through my telescopic handler license.
this was during events, was it?
No, this was with Pinnacle.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
Pinnacle.
yeah,
Right,
yeah.
okay.
So I got my telescopic handler license through them, and they invested in people in their crew, the guys that were staying. Yeah, I mean, don't know what it's like now. It's been when did I? 2000. I worked there 2005 to 2007. 2008.
It's a while ago, sort of 12
Yeah. So,
years ago. Yeah, cool. But so yeah, that's how it kind of started. And
tell me a little bit more about this course. So they started you off with showing you or talking to you about acoustics and how they react.
yeah, exactly, like the science of acoustics. Yeah, exactly. Just
Open
sort of
air and closed.
Brown motion. Is that the Brown theory? Is it the Brown motion, which is like the sort of the movement of particles in the air and all that sort of stuff.
Yes.
All that, yeah, or like what waveforms and all that sort of stuff. So really, sort of, yeah, the basics.
Great.
Basics of sort of
Stuff you need to know.
Exactly, yeah. Standing waves and all this sort of stuff. So yeah, they did that, and then sort of after sort of understanding sound as a natural.
Was it geared specifically for live? It wasn't.
It was,
studio?
yeah. This particular course, you could do the live. You could do the studio course there as well, but this particular one was just for live. So yeah, obviously it starts with like the natural sort of science of sound.
Gotcha.
So with sort of sound waves and stuff.
And explaining how the microphones work.
Exactly, exactly, and how speakers work, and then it sort of from then on it kind of just goes from sort of the signal flow of sort of from your microphone.
That is an important thing.
Yeah.
To know. That's probably one of the first things that I always teach. I get people come and do work experience with me.
Right. Yeah.
Quite a bit. And when I taught as well at BIM, it was make sure that you've got a clear vision in your head. You should know where the signal's going, where it comes from, where it's going, and then you can work anything else. You can work it out. Yeah.
Essentially, all technical sort of jobs in this industry and everything we use, it's all signal flow. It's literally just signal flow.
Absolutely,
that's what it is.
But I suppose you can even apply that to what you're doing. Not audio signal flow, but you get a call and then you got to pass it on, and then that department deals with it, and sometimes it bounces back to you, and then you get to the end result. So that's another signal flow.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just sort of you just got to make sure you've got a clear vision of what's going on in your head. If you're in a situation as a sound engineer or a project manager or whatever, and you feel like you've lost that vision, that's when you're in trouble.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean? And then that's when you start panicking. And
And then it's like, hold on, I'll be back. Just give me 5 minutes.
Give me 5 minutes.
Oh,
yeah.
I've had.
Let me just draw this out.
I've had to do this once, way in the beginning. Because the pressure is, this was in the beginning when I was working full time at Ronnie Scott's. I wasn't great. I was okay. I knew what I was doing, and I did quite well in my degree and everything. But in the live situation, the pressure's on. Sometimes it builds up. And once I remember, I was getting feedback, and I was like, "This, I can't figure it out." And I just turned around and I switched it off, and I walked out. I muted everything. And I walked out and I just had a little look around the place, and I was like, okay. Went back in, and was like, let's start from scratch.
Let's start again.
And
yeah.
I didn't have to in the end, but it's just sometimes take a little moment. And I've even I've even said that to people is don't panic and try and fix things in a panic, because the odds are that you're going to mess it up. You're going to make it worse.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're panicking and you're just grabbing for things and you're like, no, and then it's going to end up worse than what it was.
And then you don't know what you've done in a panic, so you're like, oh god, what did I just do? What,
exactly.
Or
even if you fix it, you're like, I don't know how I fixed it.
Yeah, exactly, and that's even worse.
yeah, because you can't replicate that ever again.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly, yeah. But yeah, having that clear image of what you're doing, and I think also, when you go from college or university, whatever, and you come into this sort of live situation, it's kind of learning that stagecraft and stuff as well. So like that, knowing where you've put things, knowing where you've labelled things, knowing how you've patched things, and
keeping the channel list in your head.
Yeah, exactly. And if you lose track of that, but that kind of stagecraft, that keeps you sort of like grounded, and that keeps you sort of composed
in a calm, confident way.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
You have to be confident.
Yeah.
Enough to be able to do this. You can't be umming and ahhing. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. If you get musicians who've been doing this for a very long time, and they ask you for more and they monitor, and you're umming and ahhing, then they're going to be, who's this guy?
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes,
and once the musicians lose their faith in you, then the working relationship is going to be, there's going to be a lot of strain on it for however long.
It's so hard
to build that back up,
to build that confidence in them back up, in you. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it's just as good just to say, no, you can't have any fucking more. Do you know what I mean? Because you're like, okay, it's it's not working here. You know what I mean? But it just makes you look like authoritative, and that you know what you're doing.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So
Absolutely. Yeah. Just make sure that they know their bits. Really.
Yeah.
Strictly speaking, they should be able to do it acoustically, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But,
yeah.
That's not.
We can't always
exactly
work with sort of classically trained sort of orchestras that don't have to have any fallback or anything.
Right.
We can't always do that, can we? But yeah, no, brilliant, cool.
That's one thing I always find not strange, but yeah, when we do big bands, especially like I say big bands, jazz orchestras or something like that, and like the Mingus big band, they always request a monitor. I'm like, really? You guys should be able to do it without any kind of monitoring. But yeah, I mean,
so you feel like that, maybe that craft of being able to sort of feel and listen to the musicians around you naturally, the way it's been done for centuries or whatever, is
especially in a big band, because
like a jazz band.
Yeah, you have your conductor, but it's the same with an orchestra. They don't all have monitors. And in fact, I don't think any of them do. We've done loads of gigs at the Royal Albert Hall and stuff like that. Put out a hotspot for the conductor, and the rhythm section might have monitors, but it's not like the string section each have monitors or anything.
They've
like that.
They've all got IEM packs or anything like that. Yeah,
none. They read the dots and they take their tempo from the conductor, and that's how they do. They know this by heart.
Exactly.
They should do. If they're playing at this level, they really should. They really should know. Okay, so going back to, so you're finishing your degree. You did the course that you did quite intensively. So after how much of the live stuff did they teach you? Did they give you any work experience? Oh yes, they did. They said that you were working at the Village Underground and places like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So the work experience thing is a really important thing.
Exactly. Yeah, there was loads of hands-on experience, and that work experience kind of alluded to it earlier on, but that kind of turned into sort of paid work after the course as well. So that kind of really led on from that, which was really good.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you're sort of in the industry then. Do you know what I mean? And Soul Sound, Dara De La Soul, sorry, yeah, she who runs Soul Sound. At the time, she was running a kind of a crewing company of her own, but it was kind of technical crew, so she was employing sort of sound engineers. So as we sort of graduated from the course, she would sort of enroll with Darren. She would get us work at the venues that we've been working in.
That's quite a smart business.
Yeah,
That's
exactly, yeah. But sadly, I don't think she's doing that anymore for tax reasons and other things like this. But yeah, that was really good. There was other corporate companies that she introduced us to as well, which is cool. But yeah, it was great.
Right. And then how long did you do the freelance thing?
So yeah, I was freelancing. I don't know. I don't think it was an awful long period.
It wasn't very long, because I
yeah.
remember you were doing Pinnacle and you were working with me with Nigel for a while, and then you said you started working for Wise Productions, and you got quite busy with them.
Exactly.
And then you joined the team.
Yeah.
So how did that? You ended up being head of sound there, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So when I started working for I kind of knew of Wise Productions through Pinnacle, because I'd worked for that client through Pinnacle Crew. So I sort of approached them, started freelancing, just doing little bits around the warehouse, cable testing, all the kind of like
the grunt jobs.
Exactly, all that sort of stuff. And then they just got me onto because at the time they didn't actually have a full-time audio technician at the employed at the company. One had just, I think the guy that ran the department had just left. So I came in, I was kind of just like casual, and they sort of got me in to do this, to do that, to de-prep all the kit. To de-prep all the kit, and
It's almost right place, right time, eh?
Yeah, exactly. And and then I was just getting busier and busier with them. It was during the summer. They had just moved warehouse. And they started putting me on their shows as well, just sort of taking their shows, and I sort of just build up and cut my teeth with Wise. It was really good. The only thing was maybe that I might, because I was working so much with the corporate company doing audio, which is great for me, learning the trade and stuff. The kind of live sound, rock and roll kind of faded away a bit because I was just so busy, and I was earning good money. Because corporate pays quite well, and I'd been doing crewing before and getting paid.
It was
next
just
to nothing.
natural. It was
just a natural
progression.
thing, exactly. And I learned, I learned a lot while I was with them, with the engineers that were coming and mixing their shows. And gradually, they offered me a full-time position, so I took it. It was all good, and gradually I sort of started taking on more responsibilities. I think the first thing was kind of, right, this is your department, all this kit, this is yours, this is your baby. You've got to sort it out. When it comes back, you need to make sure you need to repair it. So I learned how to repair kit, all that sort of stuff.
What sort of repairs were you making?
Like
cables, obviously, loads of that.
Anything that wasn't sort of like,
you have to open amps up and things like that.
Yeah, I would attempt that. I would attempt opening up and see if I could, change some LEDs or
right.
change fuses. And I'm not a electronic engineer, so I wasn't sort of like but taking out sort of crossovers out of speakers, changing like capacitors or replacing drivers and all this sort of stuff. So. Yeah, all that sort of, so that...
Well, that's fantastic experience. Yeah. That's really good.
Yeah, exactly. So that was great. And then I think from then on, it was kind of, because I was dealing with that, the operations department at the time, they kind of, they were struggling to sort of organise the sound from a kind of, operational point of view, because they were did a lot of lighting, and they didn't have many staffs in that sort of department. So the first thing was, sort of leading on to sort of becoming the head of sound, was like, right, Max, can you like write these equipment lists for these jobs, and can you start speccing the jobs? And then we're like, we also want you to sort of mix some of these jobs. So that's where it sort of started, really.
Great.
And I just sort of started, taking more and more responsibility, like sort of purchasing equipment for the company,
right,
sorting out sort of other service,
just making
stuff.
Things a bit more streamlined.
Exactly, yeah. And then just sort of within maybe like a year and a half, I was running the sound department, which was quite a quick rise
Yeah,
to that.
yeah,
but
well,
there was, just
well
like you said, right place, right time. They had
but
just,
also,
yeah.
you know, this is a testament to you, is that you took that on, and you rose to the top there,
Yeah.
within a short period of time. There would be lots of other people who wouldn't rise to the occasion.
Yeah, for sure.
So well done for that. And I think
Thank you very much.
it's definitely carried on through. I always remember that you've been a hard worker and keen. You don't stand back or put your hands up and say this isn't for me. You get stuck in. So well done for that.
Yeah,
And
it was good.
congratulations also on the what you've got. You've been at SSE for a while and you're doing well there. Mm-hmm. So then you were at Wise, doing the sound. What prompted the move?
So we were at Wise Productions. It's corporate sort of AV really. You get to do some bands. The odd time you'll get a big name act come in. I think we did like Jessie J, sort of people like Paloma Faith, and these kind of pop artists would come in, and you would do a few little, and you would get sort of the function bands come through and stuff like that. But I just found like I was just doing the same thing like
Right.
week in, week out, and it was just a little bit, and that they also just work within the same venues. Their kind of niche market is the unique venues of London. So your museums, your palaces, all this sort of stuff. So working in the same venues, doing the same gig with the same corporate clients, the same kind of function
Right,
bands
it's
you've
just
seen a
getting a
million
bit
times.
monotonous.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought, do you know what? I wanted to get into this industry to be part of kind of the the music, audio, rock and roll, basically. So I kind of lost a little bit of that. I kind of gained a bit when I was sort of doing my course and sort of working with Soul Sound and working through the venues and stuff. So I thought, maybe it's time for me to just sort of jump ship.
Oh, it's fair enough.
I did about 3 years there.
Yeah, that's a
A
that's
good
a
little
good,
stint.
good stint.
Yeah, so there was a position at SSE for this sort of junior project manager role, and yeah,
And was this a training role?
yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, it was a completely different sort of role in terms of what I'd done at Wise. I'd done a lot of operational things at Wise, sort of kit lists and
Right, so you had that
the
experience.
technical side, but I was also working quite closely with the sales. I was costing events, the audio on
So
events.
you had all that
So I
experience.
had a
in
little
the
bit. I
bag.
had a kind of my toe in that, in that sort of side of things as well. When I moved to SSE, it was a different thing because it was a income generator role essentially, whereas before it was just servicing the department. You know what I mean, to the best of your ability. So now it was about. There is a technical element to it. You're specing jobs, and you need to know about the kit.
But you got to make the sales.
But you got to make money. That's kind of the big leap, really. That's what it's all about.
Okay.
Client facing.
So stepping into a junior position, then you've progressed since then. But were they expecting you to have all your cats in the same bag already? Like, how can I? You get these lots of that they advertise as a junior position, but it's actually just somebody who knows something, and they're going to train them up. Was there any kind of training, or were you just thrown right in the deep end?
I think because the thing is, I was quite nervous when I first started at SSE because I thought, wow, big audio company.
Hey man, who wouldn't be?
Yeah, biggest audio company in the UK. They do like proper rock and roll stadium tours, touring
That's right,
bands,
yeah.
a lot of, and I hadn't necessarily worked with this high end equipment before. I was sort of, a lot of like Yamaha, Nexo, kind of like corporate AV sort of style stuff, no massive kind of sort of
Yeah,
systems.
and the events where people worry more about what it looks like,
Exactly,
than
like-
the actual quality of
Exactly.
the audio.
So
As long as it's passable, it's fine.
yeah, as long as I can hear the speech and
But
it's
we want pink lights everywhere.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that speaker sounds so ugly, can we put it behind that curtain, sort of thing. So yeah, there was sort of a bit of trepidation there, trying, wow, this is a sort of a big company, and I was, I was nervous, and then sort of going into it, sort of when I was speccing my jobs or sort of doing my hires, talking to the warehouse staff, a lot of them knew a lot more about audio and about these particular these high-end systems than I did. So it was tough. So there was kind of like getting to know the kit. That was one side of thing, and then also, I mean, in terms of income generation and selling to a client, to me that was kind of pretty much like a brand new thing.
Yeah.
So it was learning on the job. I've got a really good team around me that sort of taught me the ways. I had sort of ability to talk to clients beforehand through Wise and stuff, because I was always in site visits and sort of meeting with clients and stuff. So I had that and that kind of email etiquette or whatever. But yeah, just like costing things up, what pitfalls to look out for with costing. But there's some training, but it is kind of just like you learn their ways, you learn the way they want to do things, but it's just sort of learning it on the job, I suppose.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
And just have your head screwed on right.
Exactly. Yeah, but
Make sure that you
need to have you need to have a good audio knowledge, but you don't necessarily need to be, rock and roll engineer, mixing. I don't know.
So you said that you wanted to get into more of the rock and roll side. Do you get to mix?
I don't do any mixing. With SSE. Strictly a sort of project manager sort of role. I think the thing is with when you're a client handler or an account handler, whether there's kind of a certain sort of barrier, like it's kind of like a professional line.
Yes,
you don't cross.
Yeah. I got you.
Do you know what I mean?
Understand
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you don't want to be seen. Say,
it's
for example,
almost like stepping down in their eyes to you want to go mix, but you're here.
Yeah, I wouldn't say stepping down. It's like a sideways thing. It's like you're just on different sort of planes.
Right, so they don't look down on us, do they?
No, not at all. Maybe even look up to, like some of my clients will be amazing engineers that so it's not like, oh, I've learnt sound, tick, I don't need to do that anymore. I'm just gonna sort of type on my keyboard all day. It's not that. It's just a different thing. Say for example, you sold a job to, whatever, and okay, you can have this kit, you're gonna organise the trucking and all this, and do you know what? I can't find anybody to mix the show. I'm gonna mix it, and then I do a bad job, or it's just that line between, like, do you know what I mean?
It's
like,
almost that it could reflect badly on the company.
Exactly. Yeah. So you kind of. Not saying that I'm going to go and do a show and go and do it bad. It's just there's a line. There's a professional line.
I think there's always something that can go wrong. There's always something that can go wrong. And if you have that separation, then you
exactly.
can. I got the guy, and he was supposed to do his job. Everything else, I did my job right.
I'm going to control the elements of it I can.
Yeah.
There are project managers in other companies, similar rock and roll companies I know, that do,
go out and mix,
write the theme tune, sing the theme tune type thing. Do you know what I mean? They'll sell the show. They'll, and they'll mix the show. But for me and for SSE, it is, I'm doing sales and I'm selling and I'm client facing, and that is my sole responsibility.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like I said, if I did do a bad mix, that could potentially affect the income that client might bring, because
you might not get return
potentially. Yeah, it's just I just think professional
that
line.
makes a lot of sense. I just wanted to
no worries.
see how that
we
works. Yeah, right. So, what do you think? Are you happy there? Do you want to stick around and keep doing that? Would you like to branch out and do a bit of rock and roll?
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it. I like being part of the industry. I enjoy the team that I work with. We've got really good goals. We've got good things that we're sort of trying to do. I'm also quite enjoying sort of trying to build that client base and trying to sort of look after more and more high profile bands and be a part of that part of the production, that side, and that's really exciting.
That is. It's a part that's, I mean, that's the whole point of this thing is to say, not necessarily just for engineers, because I mean I'm doing this because I think I know all these great people, and I want everybody else to know them as well. I don't want to keep you just for myself. I want everybody to know you guys, and the different aspects as well of the industry. It's not just because a lot of people, they would just go in to a venue and they see the gig, but they have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. All the work that leads up to that moment and everything that happens afterwards. So it's to know the people that make it happen.
Exactly.
And the different aspects. Like I said, I've got coming up on the next one. Good friend of mine, harpist, and she works together with a DJ. So I'm gonna bring on musicians as well.
Great.
And I've got a great pool of musicians that I know.
And that opens up a completely different new conversation, doesn't it? Do you know what
Absolutely.
I mean?
Like, how do you do it? What was the thing behind it? What are the things that you do? And I don't know about lighting technicians. I'm only kidding. But yeah, I want to get people on. And I know some people who are in different disciplines of the music business, just so people can maybe get it's not so much technical. It's more, like I said, I just want to share all of you with the world. I want to, if somebody maybe listens to this and we've got a show that we want to do, I'll call Max.
Exactly, yeah.
And I'll get him to spec
you
the
can
thing.
get me Max.powers ssaudio.com. Whoa. We've just been talking so much about Wise Productions.
Right, maybe you should do that again. I'm gonna add it. You've got LinkedIn, don't you?
I do, yes.
Right,
I don't actually use it an awful lot, but I have it, and you can find
whatever you're happy to share.
Yeah,
I'll share it at the end. So people can also build their database of engineers and systems tech people. I'm looking. Hopefully, I haven't heard back yet, but I'm looking to get Liam Halpin on, who's fantastic systems tech guy. He tunes the systems at Ronnie's. He comes in every now and then, but he also works for Tool.
Oh, great!
System of a Down and things like that. He's a blade. He's great. So I want to get him on at some stage as well to just have a chat and explain his business, what it is that he does.
Even if you're just a sound engineer, there's different disciplines within being a sound engineer.
A sound engineer.
Not just. I'm saying.
I've
there's different disciplines even within the one role.
Oh, 100%.
Do you know what I mean? So
sound you can be a studio engineer, you can be a live engineer, you can be a systems tech guy, you can be
front of house monitors,
right?
Patch system tech. Yeah, exactly. So
it's
account handler,
and also, I mean, for me and most of the people that I've worked with and come in contact with, I've kind of followed the similar route of starting out with either touring around with a band and doing all the toilet gigs and or kind of like I did myself and get a job at a venue and then work there relentlessly until you've cut your teeth and you think maybe now I'm good to be released out into the world.
Yeah, there is a really natural progression and it just happens. Do you know what I mean? And as long as you work hard, you get up and you're on time.
Yeah, that's right, man.
Yeah, you're
15 minutes early is on time. Time is late.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So as long as you do all these things, and you obviously you have to have some kind of knowledge and ability, and you have to want it. You have to want it. And you have to have that. If you've got that drive, then you'll make it, and it'll go naturally. It goes naturally in sort of different ways and different sort of parts of the industry. But yeah, it'll happen for you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's something that It's also as a don't get discouraged kind of message. You know, because I think it happens a lot where people they get discouraged really quickly. Oh, it hasn't happened yet. Maybe it's never going to happen. It's like, nah, man, take your time.
When you're a freelancer,
it's a long journey that you're on.
Yeah, totally.
You know, you can't just reach the end straight away. That doesn't work like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Or, you know, you've just started freelancing. You've come out of your venue that you've worked in for 3 years, and it gets to January, like, nobody wants to employ me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like, no, don't worry, dude. Everybody's.
It's January.
It's January. You know what I mean?
You remember December and how you didn't sleep? Now is your time to do that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And go out and do those things. Right. So I think. What have you got anything that you want to discuss? Is there anything that you
not off the top of my head, no.
No?
I don't think so. No. If there's any other topics.
do you let's talk a little bit so you playing guitar, like, do you still play?
I don't, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
I don't, I'm afraid. I don't. I feel like there's a theme with sort of sound engineers. You either completely love it and you keep doing it and you keep playing, or being a sound engineer kind of like it, or being in it kind of it might kind of ruin it for you because you're kind of around. It's like a busman's holiday kind of thing, and also just the fact that you work with like amazing musicians and you know.
Yeah.
And also you don't really have the time as well. So yeah, I pick up the guitar factor once in a while, but not really.
Yeah, myself as well. Unfortunately, I don't. And you know, when you work long hours and you sleep very little, then that hour that you do have, it's hard to really sit down. I've made a point of it recently to start, you know, sitting down again, and I've started giving my daughter guitar lessons.
Oh, great, cool.
So I've forced myself in this way to sit down, and you know, I gotta be prepared. Otherwise, she's gonna be like, "Who are you to teach me? Because you're messing it up yourself."
Totally. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I definitely should. I always have these. You know, I listen to a good tune. It's like, oh, do you know what? That's a really good tune. It's like, I should start playing guitar again. I have these little thoughts. You know, yeah, maybe I should. You know, get my guitar out, and then it never happens. But you know, I need to.
It's really difficult to find the time sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you do any recording?
I don't know. I don't. I've got recording equipment to a point. Just, you know, I've got a computer. I've got a sound card. I've got a sort of surplus amount of microphones at work that I can pull from if I want to.
Wow,
but
you've got the best stockpile.
Exactly. Yeah. But no, I don't do any. You know, I've always had this idea that I would do. But no, I don't. No. What about you? You doing any recording? Oh, obviously you've got this recording studio here and stuff. But
well, I don't record here. No, I've done
mixing.
I've done a bit of mixing. I mean, I set up the screen and the mixing desk when I started working in the studio. We're doing sound. It's not really sound for film because I'm not a sound designer by any way, shape, or form. We're doing dubbing. So the Warner Brothers movies, I would take them and split them. I would get the video and the audio, and then I would split them with a script, put all the pieces, each character gets his own track, and I did that. So some of the things I wasn't allowed to bring Warner Brothers stuff home. They had to stay in the studio there.
Right, of course.
Security's very tight. Wasn't allowed to take anything out. But some of we did some foreign film projects which we translated into English.
Oh, great!
So for that, I
could
bring
actors and stuff.
We would do the ADR. We would record it in the studio there. We would get them in. But before that as well, I would have to make up the split sessions with a script, and so that means going through the movie about 27,000 times, getting the right the right audio with the script, making sure that the time code's correct, editing time code and script and things like that, making sure that once it goes out to the international regions that they would have it at 06, 28, 23 would be where this guy starts talking. So they could just click on that, loop record it. So I did a bit of that, bit of recording. I recorded an album for a friend of mine over the summer.
Wow, great.
Which was good. It was quite intense because she'd been let down by musicians, fucking college musicians.
Right,
Man.
okay.
It was a college project, but still, obviously, I'm going to try and do the best job that I can do.
Yeah.
Because I always feel, it's integrity. I'm not just gonna.
Yeah.
There you go. Because also maybe for selfish reasons, my name's attached. To
Yeah,
that.
exactly. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
this
of
guy
course.
he's not going to get him back. So yeah, it was a little bit intense and not conventional as everybody had already broken for holiday and stuff, and the guitarist was in France. And
Right.
the drummer was in Greece. No, sorry, the drummer was here, but the bass player was in Greece. I recorded the drummer here, and I recorded the vocals and violin stuff. But yeah, there was a lot of bouncing around. This is a truly international album.
Yeah, exactly.
I went to Estonia as well to record some guitar stuff with her. But yeah, it was good. It was good. I really did enjoy that, and it's. I like to get my fingers in different pies,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
just try and keep my skills up a little bit. With this thing, I started learning Premiere Pro
Yeah.
to do the video editing, obviously, because I got the 3 cameras and I got to splice them all together.
Mm-hmm.
And I really do enjoy that a lot. But since I just quit the studio and I'm back in the live world, and I'm very very happy and excited to be back in it. The diversity, working in different venues with different artists and stuff. I
Definitely
enjoyed.
keeps life sort of
Interesting.
interesting. For
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
No, I enjoyed the studio stuff very much. I really did. But I'm just not. I'm not a 9-to-5er. It's just not in my DNA. I don't think.
Yeah, it's very. It can be monotonous, and you just feel like God, Yeah, but
It was
yeah.
towards the end. It was hard going in to the studio, even though once I got there, I
It's
enjoyed the
fine.
work.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's
yeah,
like, I
getting
got
there.
5 days a week going to the same place over and over. And for me, that was a bit difficult. And I think that was probably one of the main reasons why I did the went the live route as a freelancer. Because like I said, I did the year at Ronnie Scott's as well. And even though that was something I really enjoyed and learned a lot, it was just the fact of having to go to the same place every day. And that for me was,
It's like cabin fever, isn't it?
For like you enjoy your work at SSE, and you've been there 2.5 years,
2.5 years. Yeah.
and you enjoy that.
I do
And-
enjoy it. Yeah, it's good. I do.
But
I
you
do
also get out. You
Yeah.
go on site visits and
side
you do these
visits
sorts of
and
things.
exactly. Yeah.
So it's not quite just the same thing all the time. And but you get guys who work in the same studio all their life, and that's for them. For me, it's just unfortunately it's not like that.
I do actually still do a bit of freelancing on the side as well.
Oh, right,
yeah, you
right.
know, that extra little bit of cash there.
Right.
So yeah, I do sort of events and stuff like this and
Right.
other. So yeah, just to keep my sort of also just keep you sort of your skills fresh, and just if ever I think I'm done with SSE and I want to go back out and do whatever.
You've already you've got some doors wedged
You've
open.
got some doors wedged open, and your skills are kind of like
Current.
your tools are kind of sharp-ish to a point, whatever.
Yeah,
so
you
that's-
can. It'll take you 5 minutes instead of 1 minute.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
To just get straight back into it. No, it's that. I think that's very important. I find, I don't know, maybe I'm just overly paranoid, but I find if I go away for 10 days and I have to come back and do a big gig.
People think I'm
nervous.
terrible.
I'm nervous as shit, man. I'm like,
yeah.
but I think as well the nerves element for me before a show, I get this butterflies, but I think it's a good thing. I think the day the day that I don't feel that anymore, maybe I should do something else, because then I obviously don't.
It's
care
like going
enough.
on stage, isn't it? It's like going on stage. I still get it if I'm mixing a show once in a while, because I'm not doing it frequently. But yeah, if you don't have that, then you're probably going to be mixing a bad show, or
you just don't care enough.
Yeah, you
I
don't
think
care
you care enough.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I've done a few quite big shows recently, which was fantastic with Simande. And yeah, that was fantastic, man. We did the Pori Jazz Festival in Finland, which is quite a big thing. It was we were sharing a stage with Christina Aguilera.
Oh wow, cool.
And we, a couple of what was the other one? WOMAD Festival was quite a big one as well, main stage.
Yeah,
and
I think that's an SSE job.
Oh, is that so?
I believe so. I think so. Yeah,
Brilliant.
Not my job, but
Okay.
one of my colleagues. Yeah,
Right. Yeah. No, it was great. It was fantastic. And yeah,
How did the PA sound? Good.
Yeah.
Was you mixing
at
front of house, or?
WOMAD, I had to, because right in the beginning it was a little bit bass heavy, because I had to do my sound check in the earphones, and I kind of dialed in my EQs and things, as you do, and I had it sounding nice in the headphones, and then once they opened the system up, the subs were a little bit more powerful than than I thought they were, and I had to just dial it back really quickly, which for me, I mean, the show ended up fine.
Great,
It was great. I heard a recording of it and it sounded fine.
Great.
And I think sometimes, once that happens, then for the rest of the show, you're paranoid. There's just nothing. Every little squeak, you're like, shit, back.
Your
You
senses
just
are
can't
heightened, aren't
relax.
they?
Yeah,
Exactly.
So it's a bit hard sometimes to bounce back from that. But, it's just the thing that comes with experience, not to panic at that moment, and just go like, okay, let's just dial it down. What is it? Find it nice, Don't take your time, but take your time.
Exactly. I think all engineers are kind of it's sort of their own, toughest critic or whatever. And when you go and do a show, you want it to be perfect. Every little,
But that's the thing
any
about
little
live,
squeak or any little
there's
thing,
no-
you're like, and that's kind of like one notch on your thing. You're like, oh god, it wasn't quite there. But that's what you're meant to be like. You're meant to be striving for perfection. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But
otherwise, just forget it. There's no point in doing it.
for sure.
It's yeah. Okay, I think we could probably wrap this up.
Great. Cool.
It's been fun, man. Thank you for talking to me. I
No
really
worries.
enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too. It was good.
Yeah, we can do it again. I've got a long list of people which I'm gonna get on. So it might be a little while, but if it's still happening in a while, I'd love to have you back.
No worries, mate. Yeah, I'll come back and do some more chatting.
Fantastic, man. Thank you so
Cheers,
much.
man.
Right, have a good day.
Will do.
So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. I want to thank Max Powers for coming on. I had a good time talking to him, getting to know him a little bit better. I'll be including his details, LinkedIn, email, etc. in the description. So if you want to start building your database of engineers, this is where you can start. Thank you very much, and see you soon.